the other important thing is to explain contributionism is not easy, because it does turn everything we've ever been taught and everything we understand on its head. Because the way the world works now basically is a pyramid structure, right? Where very few people control the large numbers that work for very few people and make more and more money for the very few people at the top. Now, as we know, pyramid schemes can only last for so long until they implode and they collapse. But contributionism, you take the pyramid and you turn it on its head. And basically what you get in contributionism, the model that you get is, for example, if I was a shoemaker in a capitalistic society, my modus operandi is, how cheaply can I make a shoe that's going to break down as quickly as possible, so that the person has to buy a new shoe, and I must be able to sell it for as much as possible. So how cheaply can I make it? How much can I possibly sell it for to maximize my profits? But it must only last for so long, so that the person has to come and buy a new pair of shoes very, very soon. That's pretty much a capitalistic kind of way of thinking. In contributionism, that same shoemaker would say the following: how well can I make a pair of shoes that the person that uses them will never have to buy another pair of shoes again in his life? It's a very, very fundamentally different approach to life. Now, if you take that approach to everything, and you understand how this turns a pyramid upside down, and it spreads the base of knowledge and information, science, knowledge, information, technology, everything. It spreads like wildfire. It's an exponential growth of knowledge and information. Because remember, there is no financial benefit and no financial gain in this structure. And I can already hear what you're thinking. You're saying, okay, well, how's this going to work? How are we going to afford everything? You see already, how are we going to afford everything? Who's going to pay for it? Immediately, we automatically get sucked back into the capitalistic way of thinking. It takes quite a while to get out of that mold and start thinking in a true contributionist way. Basically, contributionism means that everybody works together for a common purpose. Everyone does a little bit for the greatest benefit of all. So if everybody contributes just a teeny weeny bit, the abundance of everything on planet Earth is quite astounding. And I mean astounding. The numbers and the maths we've done on this, it is absolutely spectacular when you see how little the global population has to do as individuals to create an insane abundance of everything you could possibly imagine. And this is a very important point, because at this stage you realize that contributionism is not just a quick solution to a problem we have, but in fact what it is a system, a socio-political system that is actually intended and aimed for people that aspire to higher consciousness, to the growth of consciousness and the spreading of consciousness, and growing towards a high understanding of our place in the universe as spiritual beings trapped in these physical bodies, spiritual beings having a physical experience on a planet called Earth, striving for higher understanding and higher consciousness. And that's what contributionism is really for. It is a blueprint and a foundation for that kind of thinking, and a springboard and a foundation to start moving towards that kind of lifestyle. So it's directly linked to our Creator, to our creation, and providing many answers, hopefully, through the understanding of how beautifully this can work together. And I think from now on, I'm going to start introducing you to different aspects of contributionism. This was just a short introduction so that you understand where I'm going to go with this. And now we're going to go into the deeper, more important fundamental cornerstones and foundations of how this thing can function, why it is not going to fall over, and this is a very important thing. In the 4 years of research I've done here, is that everybody is concerned that it's not going to work, it's going to fall over, it's going to be exploited and so forth. Well, if I'm a lazy son of a bitch, I'm just going to sit on my ass and do nothing. Well, these are the obvious kind of things that people ask, because that's how conditioned we have become through the capitalistic system. Remember, and this is a great example, okay? Remember that in contributionism, everybody gets everything for free. Everything is available to everyone, from scientists that need to build rockets and spaceships to go to the furthest corners of our cosmos, to shoemakers, to chefs, to glass blowers, to anyone you can imagine, people that want to plant plants, to people that want to look after other people's children. You name it. It is a multifaceted, well-integrated system that provides a place for each and everyone, because that is exactly how it's structured. It is also very important to understand that it is not a majority rules system. In fact, contributionism is a very scary concept at first, because it actually, at its fundamental level, it means that minority rules. But you see, when you take the capitalistic principle out of this, you realize that minority rules is the only way forward, because there are so many diverse people, so many diverse vocations, so many diverse passions, art forms, interests in the world, that you cannot have a majority rule system. That is just bullying others into submission. Okay? And the fact that we've been so conned and confused that capitalism and democracy gives us freedom just shows us how well this game has been played, and how well we've been brainwashed and conditioned into believing these things like a religion, that money rules all, that if you work your way into a career and you're very successful, you can build yourself this nest egg, and then you die, and then what? Okay, remember, this is not, from the moment we are born till the moment we die, this life that we lead as people, as spiritual beings trapped in these physical bodies, this life that we lead is all about money. From the first breath you take to the last breath you breathe out, it's all about money. That cannot be the purpose of our life on this planet. People, you've got to contextualize this, you've got to digest this, you've got to come to terms with this. It's not about money. It's about experiencing life, growing your soul, understanding and yearning and trying to tap into this thing we call consciousness, and the higher knowledge of our place and in the equilibrium on the universe and our place in it. Please do not get caught up in this thing believing that money is important and the root of all things. We do not need money. Now, the next little introduction, the next little episode, I'm going to take you on a journey of what are the fundamental blocks of contributionism, why is it not going to fall over, and so forth. Remember, everyone is precious. We are all one. We are all part of the same being, the same universal consciousness. We are not separate. We are not divided. We've been told and conned to believe that we are separate and that we're divided. The moment that we understand we are all one, part of the same universal consciousness and the same universal being, we'll go a lot further towards embracing this philosophy and understanding that if you hurt others, you're actually hurting yourself. So let's leave it there. Let's leave it there for now, and we'll get to the fundamental building blocks of contributionism in the next episode. Hello, welcome to the next segment of unfolding and unpacking the concept of contributionism. Some of you may be confused at this stage, and I know that many people are very excited about this concept, and I'm going to try and unpack it as well as I can. I'm not going to read this, I'm not going to write it down and then read it to you. I'm just going to share it with you as it comes to mind, as the thoughts come to me based on the research and the work that I've been doing around this, and the pitfalls and the upsides and so forth. So in this next little segment, first thing I'd like to say to you is, imagine a world where everybody could follow their passion, follow their dream, follow their talent, their natural ability that they've been blessed with as a human being, whatever that ability may be. Because in essence, that's what we should be doing. And And the brutally, horribly disgusting reality is that that's what we are not doing. We suppress all our natural abilities and our natural talents. Well, that is the system, the capitalist and the socio-political system that we find ourselves in on this planet. That is structured so that the first thing it does, it suppresses all our natural abilities, and it forces us to be educated with a whole bunch of stuff that we're not necessarily interested in, and then it forces us into a career that most people are either not really 100% happy with, but they do it because it's a good career and they'll make a lot of money, so that's why they go for it. Or they don't have a career and they just try and get a job or try and do anything to make money. So once again, you see, it's all about money. From the first breath we take to the last breath we breathe out, it's all about money. So imagine if we can just wipe that away, clear the table, and say, what is it if you had to wake up tomorrow morning and do whatever it is you're passionate about? Whether it's planting trees, whether it's blowing glass, whether it's finding scientific solutions for new energy, whatever it is, you can wake up tomorrow morning and follow your passion, follow your natural abilities, your natural instincts. That is what contributionism, in essence, is all about. Now, I know many people instantly say, oh, it's not going to work, it can't work. Well, let me reassure you, it can work, it will work, and it does work. We have been brainwashed into believing that it cannot work, and you've got to get that out of your mind. You have to get that out of your system somehow, because this is probably the closest kind of system that the universe operates on. Just imagine other planets, other star systems, other beings on other planets using the concept of money. It's absolutely ludicrous. It's just insane for us to contemplate that. So there's a very well-known statement that people make in the society that we live at the moment. And that statement you hear almost on a daily basis, especially if you function in the world of business or finance or investment. And that expression is, it is not financially viable. No, we can't do that because it's not financially viable. No, it's not going to work because it's not financially viable. We hear it all the time. Every entrepreneur that's ever tried to do anything, everybody, any creative person that wanted to follow their passion or do this or do that, has at some stage walked into a banker and a statement from a funder or a financier that says, sorry, we can't help you because it's not financially viable. Well, it may be an innocent little statement to many people, but unfortunately, in my perspective and from my point of view, it is the cancer that keeps us enslaved. Because in that statement lies a dark, deep reality that we need to explore. And if you turn that statement around, in essence what it really means, it is not financially viable. What it really means is that millions of people around the world, billions of people around the world, cannot follow their passion, cannot do what they're naturally enabled and gifted to do, because our social, political, financial systems prevent them from doing so. Now, as you know by now, that is putting people and the system, the organism we call human beings, under a tremendous amount of stress. And when you put people and cells under stress, it's called dis-ease, and it becomes a cancerous growth. And that's what we're struggling with. It is not financially viable as a cancer we need to eradicate from our vocabulary and from the system that we operate in on this planet. So, imagine you can wake up tomorrow morning and do whatever it is that you're most naturally predisposed to doing. That is the fundamental structure of contributionism. But how do you get to do that? Now we get to the really exciting, the juicy part. The foundations and the building blocks upon which contributionism is built. And it's really exciting because it's really a very creative process. It's a creative principle and a creative process. And everyone and anyone that so far in my 4 years of research has become involved in this get as excited about it as I do, because it's exactly that. And remember, creation is part of God. It's part of the creative spirit. The moment you create and the moment you allow people the freedom to create and express their natural ability and creativity, you are growing. You're growing in consciousness. You're growing in spirituality. You're growing closer to God and understanding the bigger things that we don't understand yet, and so forth. So very clearly and very quickly you can see that contributionism is a very spiritual kind of system, based on the continuous growth of consciousness and this constant spread of love and spread of knowledge and spread of information, so that it grows exponentially upwards. The four cornerstones, the way that I've structured it in contributionism, are very basic. And it's from those four cornerstones that most other things arise and spring up and become subsections of. And those four are pretty much fall into Maslow's hierarchy. Same kind of thing. Food, shelter, health, education. And then you get security, either the head or the tail. Security, legal systems, legal structure. Now, that's very basically put and placed in front of you on the table so that you can start thinking about it. Food, shelter, health, education, and law and security. So I'm going to end this segment here and pick up the next one, dealing with the separate aspects of the four cornerstones of the contributionist system. It's really beautiful. I can't wait to share this with you.